Daniel Colborn,
Caleb Porzio, how we doing?
we're back.
We are back.
Okay, great. It is time. I hope everybody enjoyed the blink break. Can't get enough of it. All these years later, it rings true, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
My smile
so
does fade in the summer.
it does indeed. Um, so we're gonna be hanging out with Mr. Adam Wathman here. Is it Wathman?
Mm-hmm.
Wathman?
Wathman.
Wathman.
People hear me, or is
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
you.
yeah, you're
yeah,
good.
Wathman? That's right.
Wathman.
The M is like anti-silent. You know, it's like pronounced but not written.
Right. It's the opposite. I first called you Wathan, I think. I think Adam Wathan was what was in my head for years. And it took me a while to get it out of there. So anyway, Adam Wathman, folks. Great developer. What can you say about Adam Wathan? I mean, come on. So what's that popular package you wrote? What is it?
Boot forms.
Valet?
2012, I think.
Of Jigsaw. Okay, so yes, we have Adam Wathan here. He was kind enough to hop on and basically let me subject him to no preparation live streaming, which would be very interesting. Giving him a big head for a minute, he's like probably the developer with the most impact on my life in terms of development. Not other ways, definitely not other ways, only development. But yeah, and I'm sure D. Cole could say the same. He's just like one of those crazy developers that just keeps pushing the envelope and whatever. Anyway,
I
we could
wouldn't
go
say
on
the
and on.
same because
I've
I don't
learned
like
more
him
from
the
this
big
guy
card.
than basically anybody else I can think of. So hyped enough. All right. You got anything to say about the Wadman, D. Cole?
Uh, he's got one of the largest water bottles I've ever seen in my entire life.
And no doubt it's full of protein powder.
Yeah. This is actually my pee bottle because I have so much work to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Productivity hacks.
All right, well, I'm gonna stop my video and let you two take it away.
Okay.
All right, carry on.
All right. So Wadman, you're gonna drive,
Yep.
but I have to give you and the viewer a brief tutorial on my screen first to make the entry, a little bit more gradual.
Mhm.
And then it's you, man. I'll just show you code, and you'll make the code work by writing Alpine V3 plugin. So everything we're using here, folks, is Alpine V3. And this is kind of like almost like a reverse thing. Like this is going to give you more exposure into Alpine internals before you've even seen Alpine V3 used. So it might be totally reverse, but I think it will be fun. So let me share my screen. And yep, we got some faces here. Adam writes Alpine. Okay, so this page is extremely simple. I'm loading Alpine and I have a div and that is it. And we're going to do everything inside the dev tools. So when you load Alpine, this is basically like loading Alpine from a CDN. Everything you're seeing right now, by the way, you may never even use. If you just use Alpine, with X hyphen attributes and whatnot, which is great, you may never use these things. But for where we're headed, I think it's going to be helpful to see. So there's the Alpine Global. Yep, we have a version there. The Alpine Global is available. And usually, again, you don't really interact with this much, but there are 4 methods that I need to show you before we go into it. And so the first one is going to be alpine.reactive. So there's a new reactivity engine at the core of Alpine, and we're using Vue's reactivity engine for it. But these reactivity patterns and paradigms are available in tons of reactivity engines. So if you've used other things like Hyperactive, stuff like that, Salesforce's observable membrane, stuff like that, it's all kind of using these same exact paradigms. So this is how Alpine basically works at the core, is taking whatever you pass into X data, which, you pass in an literal. So let's pass in count equals 0. Okay. And you would normally put this inside X data and Alpine would do the work behind the scenes, but we're going to use kind of the raw tools here. So it'll take that object and it'll spit out, let's call this, call this obj. When you pass it into reactive, it's going to spit out a reactive version of the object. So if we look at it, it's a proxy wrapping the original object. We don't have to know much about it. You can use it the same way you would use the raw object. So we can say, object.count. Let me make this bigger for people. You can say object.count and access attributes, and you can also say like object.++, and now if we say object.count, it's equal to 1. Okay, so that's Alpine reactive. How do you feel on that, Adam?
I feel great.
You feel great. Okay. So the next move here is going to be alpine.effect. So this is the yang to reactive's yin. So alpine.effect accepts one parameter, a callback function. And anything you run inside here, it will just run that callback. So if we say console.log foo, it will just log out foo, and that's it. But it's magical in the sense that if you use any reactive data inside of it, so if we log out object.count, it's going to log 1, but check this out. If we change object.count equal to like 5, it is actually going to rerun that effect because it knows the dependencies inside of that effect, and it's going to recall that callback anytime that dependency changes. So this concept right here, I cannot overstate the importance of it in Alpine V3. It's basically the reason I rewrote Alpine to use this concept of reactivity and effects at a core level. So super important to understand. How you feel about that, Adam?
Feel great about that, Caleb.
Great. That's great. Okay. Next two methods are kind of one in the same concept, and they are alpine.evaluate and evaluate later. And you actually helped me come up with the name evaluate later. So you're familiar
I believe
with
that's true. Yep.
So alpine.evaluate. This is the core part of Alpine that converts a string from your HTML into an actual JavaScript function. So there has to be something there when you type on click foo equals bar. That foo equals bar Alpine gets as a literal JavaScript string, and we have to somehow turn that into code. And there's a thing in JavaScript you can use eval to turn strings into code, but eval is really slow. And there's other better ways to do it. And it has all these sorts of scoping issues. So Alpine uses something a little bit different, and it exposes the API basically through this evaluate. So the thing that makes this a little bit more complicated than just console.log foo is you pass in an element. You always have to pass in an element to evaluate because that's how Alpine knows the scope, knows what data is available, knows where you're executing that function. So you don't have to know much about that. You just have to pass in an element. So I have that div on the page. So picture this as like kind of a null element. I could probably just create an element inline, but we'll grab the div. And now we're saying alpine.evaluate and evaluating this console.log. And then it ran foo. I wonder if this is probably a more compelling story. Let me do this. Let's add X data.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this, Porzio.
Yeah, you see.
I see where you're going.
Name is Adam, okay? And then we'll refresh the page. And now we'll do our alpine.evaluate, grab that div, and console.log name. And now we have Adam. So you can pass in any element in a DOM tree, and if it doesn't have any Alpine scope, it just won't have any. And if it does, it will have it. So that's great. And you can kind of stop there conceptually, but every time you run this, it has to do the work of converting a string into a function, which is slightly expensive. So, and isn't really conducive to asynchronous operations that don't return things right away. So the answer to that is evaluate later. So when we pass in evaluate later, we get the function in return that we can call later on. So I'll just call this func. So nothing happened. Then I can call func, and then it will console.log. The final thing to understand is, let's say that this alpine.evaluate later didn't console.log name, but returned name. And I think we don't even need to put return in here. When I call func, it doesn't actually return anything. What you need to do with func is pass in a receiver that receives that value. So if we receive the value, then it will spit out Adam. So,
gotcha.
Okay,
Yep.
Those are the 4 things I needed to teach you and the rest of the world. How do you feel about it?
Feel great about it, Caleb.
Okay, great, Mr. Wadman. It is time for you to share your screen, and let's do some stuff.
All right. I got a 32-inch 6K monitor here, downscaled to 1,500 pixels. So I got to stand about 12 feet away.
Okay.
All right. How's this for size?
This is good.
Okay.
This is great.
So challenge 1, is that where we're going?
Challenge 1, yeah. Let's check it out.
Okay. We got challenge 1. Copyright me. I did create this. That's right. Cool. All right. So what are we trying to do here, Caleb?
So I put out some Alpine on the page that you shouldn't have to touch at all. And by the end of this, hopefully it will work. So maybe like observe what is different on there that doesn't work.
Gotcha. So we're trying to create like a custom, what do you call these, directives?
Yeah, directives.
Custom
yeah.
directive that just spits out the current year using like date.now, parsing it with. See, this is where this is gonna be hard, by the way, because nobody knows how to do that from memory. At least.
Well, so the nice thing is you're only getting the year.
Yeah.
And JavaScript, there's a whatever. I'll just tell you the
Okay,
method
we'll
when
get
you need
there.
it.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
good.
That's not the part that I need to know or
Right.
figure out. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So Alpine initializing, I'm guessing in this callback is where we have our opportunity to sort of like register new stuff with Alpine. So we didn't talk at all about like any APIs for like actually registering a new directive.
We didn't know. I thought it would be
No.
fun to see if you could guess it.
Okay. Alpine. Whoa. VS Code. Come on. Dot directifimify. Is this it?
No Y. No trailing Y.
Oh
Silent
God.
M.
It gets me every single time. Yeah. So is it just like add directive or something?
No, you had it. Just directive.
Oh, directive.
Yeah.
Directive. Okay. So we add the X ourselves, or is the X?
X is implied.
X is implied. Okay. So we're gonna do a year, and then I'm guessing we have a function here
Word.
as the second argument.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the function probably at least receives the element.
Yep.
And I guess in our case, we don't need anything else, or do we?
We don't.
Okay. Because yeah, there's no like arguments or parameters or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So is the idea here that we would just literally like add an attribute to this, like just regular old JavaScript?
Oh yeah.
So what is that API even, like add attribute?
Oh, so X here is going to put the text inside the span. That's what you want.
Text inside the span. Okay.
Yeah.
So dude, I don't write vanilla JavaScript.
That's
so you're
all
gonna have
good.
to help me on
Text
these.
content. Text content.
Text content.
Yep.
Okay. So if we just said like equals banana pants.
Yep.
And just like refresh here. Okay, cool.
We're doing
So this is like, so how do you get the current year? It's like date.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it from date as a static. I don't know if you can.
Okay,
New
what
date.
would you do?
You
New
might not
date.
even new, but yeah, new date dot get full year.
Do you have to wrap this?
You don't. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's great.
You don't have to
So that'll
wrap
just
it.
Prettier will handle that for me.
Yeah, I mean, the browser will handle that.
Yeah. But I just mean I added the brackets.
Oh, word.
Or braces.
Oh, it knew to take it away. Gotcha.
And Prettier's
cool.
like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
Don't
right?
waste your real estate on that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I dig it.
All right. Great. So next up, let's beef it up. Comment out the first one and then uncomment the second one on this page. And this is
okay. We got more to do.
Yeah.
Oh, we got an argument. I have this running with like live server, but it doesn't seem to care. So that's okay. We'll just have to do it manually. Okay. So we're going to get another argument here.
Wathman, it is X text this time, not X year.
Interesting. X text already exists in Alpine.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay. So now we're not adding a new directive.
Right. Yep.
So, Can we extend the directive, or what's the mental model here?
Right. So we're looking at $year,
mm-hmm.
and you've seen other $ stuff in Alpine. So those are called. Have you?
I'm sure I have.
So there's $refs.
Yeah.
$, watch, $, next tick.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that. And those are called magics. Magic as like a noun.
Okay. So alpine.magic, is that about to happen?
Yep.
That's a funny guy.
I know that. Nice.
All right. So is this going to be year again with the implied magical $sign?
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing we get the element again, probably, because we might want to reference the scope. And we might not actually even need it. So I guess we can probably just do this and just.
You do get the element, but you're on track that you don't need it.
Yeah, makes sense. And then we'll do this, and then we'll pray. Poof, buddy, look at that.
That's it. Super simple.
Yeah, I dig it.
Super.
You get the element. Do you also get access to like any data that's in scope and stuff like that if you wanted to?
No.
Okay.
Because it would. Let me think about this. If you needed the scope inside of, it might just I can't picture it right now.
I
I
can't
don't
think of
know.
any good reason to do it. But
Right.
like,
Yeah. None of the
you
stock.
could maybe you can do
um,
some weird things that way.
But because you have the element, you can always get the scope, like you saw with evaluate.
Gotcha. Yeah, true. You can just capture it or something.
Yep.
Mhm.
So cool. Let's challenge number 2. How do you feel so far?
I feel great. I feel good.
Okay, great. You're
Yeah, that
doing
was
great.
fun.
You're doing great.
Challenge 2. All right. I really wish on my screen, Zoom is like, stop share. You are sharing. Big toolbar covering up
Oh,
all the
yeah.
important stuff. Like, get out of my life
It's
here.
not okay.
All right. It's really not. Okay. So what do we got here? X data message. So we're passing in some data, rendering it out, which we can see is already happening here. We are going to try and copy this message to the clipboard. So this is interesting use of magics. Magics is a function, which I guess that's how like next tick and stuff works, but cool.
Yep.
All right.
Do it up.
So let's just see what we can do here. Alpine.magic clipboard. We're going to have a function. This is probably going to receive like args sort of thing, I'm guessing. Maybe. Or element first, and then where are we
Nope.
going to get this
No,
message
you
from?
can do this. It's less complicated than you think. It's more literal JavaScript than you'd think. I'll let you discover it. See if you want to discover it. Because it's
More
kind of
literal JavaScript than I think. I don't think I'm
okay. So
following.
you basically just return another function from the magic itself that accepts the parameter.
Oh, that's better. Okay, cool. So we'll just return, let's just mix it up. Let's use lots of different types of functions.
Let's do it.
So in this function, we want to use whatever the clipboard, our stuff is. So what is that? It's like,
so don't worry about it. You can type copy, and at the way bottom. Oh, actually, you have.
why
I
do
think
I
I
have all this
commented.
crap?
I did throw the function at the bottom. It's commented out. You'll have to scroll down a bit.
No, I'm not gonna look.
Dude, you're
Okay.
not going to do it because this is why you're not going to do it. Unless is this
Oh,
page served over HTTPS?
no.
Okay, then you can't use navigate.write text. So you have to do this garb.
Okay.
So I'll just copy
So-
this whole thing and throw it in a script tag.
Okay. Well, that was really hard. Okay.
I know.
So we can just throw it here if we wanted to.
Oh, like right in there? Yes.
I don't know. Why not?
That's what we're doing. I like it.
Okay, cool. So now if we go and refresh here, we copy that, try and paste it. There we go.
Good to go.
Game on. And we just say, just to prove I don't have my computer hacked to always paste hello world no matter what. Oh,
There she is. Okay.
look at that.
There
we
we
did
go.
it.
Okay, we did it.
Very
Good
cool.
work.
Yeah, that is that's nice. I guess that makes sense. They would have to return a function, right? Because if you just did the work, then it's going to be the same work every single time.
Yep.
Um,
It's like
nice.
this whole API is like underwhelming. Like this
Mhm.
magic API, it's like a key value lookup basically for a function
Yeah.
that returns the thing. So I guess the only fanciness about it is that those magics are made available, in every expression of
Gotcha.
it. But even that's not
Yeah.
that crazy. So, and they
Yeah.
actually do have reference to the current element. So that's the
Yeah.
fanciness, I suppose.
Very neat.
All right, challenge number 3.
All
Let's
right,
get into
move-
some real
move
stuff
on
here.
Okay. Challenge 3. All right. So, is this supposed to be blank right now?
Yeah, I suppose X uppercase doesn't exist.
Do anything. Gotcha.
Oh, wait. Delete. Don't look at that. Delete the directive I added and didn't delete. Go to line 20.
I'm not looking.
Okay,
You just
just
tell me
like-
where to move.
just
I'm
like
looking away.
gloss
Tell
your
me
eyes.
mouse
Yeah.
down or mouse up.
Down 20 pixels.
Tell me when to press down.
Down further, another 150 pixels to the east. Just
Never
look.
eat
It's
shredded
not going to
wheat.
work.
Okay, this one.
No. See the Alpine.directive on line 20?
Okay. Yep.
Just kill that.
I'm just like
Just
blinking
kill
a
it.
lot. Just
Yeah, kill it. Delete.
All right.
And then delete the line below it. Okay.
All right.
Okay, now we're good.
Okay. Cool. All right, so we want to make this render out, right? So I guess we need an Alpine directive
For
called
sure.
uppercase that's going to take an element. And is the idea that this is kind of does X text at the same time, sort of thing?
So, sorry, say like,
Like is the idea that you want this to render in here?
yes. Yep.
So you would use
Just
this.
turn whatever you pass in up into uppercase. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
So we're just going to say L dot text content.
Yep.
Equals, and then somewhere we're going to get this, I guess.
Right. So
mystery.
given my tutorial at the beginning, you should be able to accomplish this.
I should be able to accomplish this. Like I could do it by doing like, I don't know, like get attribute. Is that kind of what you mean? Like get the attribute of or content of the attribute?
I know what you're asking. Okay.
How do I get this
Yeah,
string?
yeah, right. That's what you want. The second parameter after L.
Yeah.
This is an object full of all the string literal stuff you care about in a directive, and one of them is
Okay.
called expression. So that's the
Gotcha.
double quoted expression.
Okay, so here we should just be able to say like expression alpine dot evaluate.
Yep.
L expression. So it gets bleeped out automatically.
Yes, it's bleeped out.
Fuck. All right. All right, cool. Yeah, that's great. That makes sense. Okay, neat.
Yep. While we're here, by the way, if you're looking for a little bit of a nice convenience, the third parameter, and let's do that. The third parameter in is a bunch of like helper utility functions that are already aware of what, so you can destructure in and evaluate.
Oh yeah.
And then that knows the element. So you don't have to
gotcha.
pass that in.
So now we can just like evaluate expression to uppercase. Bam.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Good to go.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
All right. Comment the first one out, uncomment the second one, and let's
move on.
See it work.
Next one. Okay, so I can't see whatever's supposed to be there. I guess I'll just try and I'll do this a little bit. Oh, you can see like I'm doing some really fun stuff back here.
Ooh, x.js.
No, mostly TailwindCSS, but
I've heard
I don't know what I don't know what this actually is. So, all right. So input type text, X model message, X uppercase message. So we're hoping that we can just like play with this now.
Yeah. No go. Doesn't work.
Oh,
this is our next challenge.
Okay. Okay. So let me think about why that wouldn't be the case. I'm not sure why that wouldn't be the case. Do we have to like make sure this is evaluated over and over again? Do we need to use like an effect for this?
Exactly. You're probably assuming the directive does more magic under the hood with dependencies and stuff.
Okay.
But it doesn't.
Is it really just as simple as this?
It is. Yeah.
Caleb Porzio.
Bam.
God damn.
The thing that I would recommend also is using the effect passed in from the destructured third argument instead of the Alpine dot effect.
See, I was going to do that, but then I thought, well, effect doesn't take the element as an arg, so who cares? But I guess it's a little shorter.
So then I guess the nice thing is maybe inside of the effect, add like console.log or something. Console.log, whatever. Yeah. And then like open the console as you type.
Okay.
And now go into DevTools and remove just the like the attribute from the element, the X uppercase attribute.
Okay.
And then type and look at the console. So like it cleaned up the effect when the mutation observer saw that attribute was removed.
Well, the console was empty the whole time.
Was it?
As you can see.
Why is it empty?
I don't know. This is Safari. I don't know if that.
Did you say you like saved everything, like sanity check stuff?
Yes. Well, we're using effect right now, so maybe that's the.
No, I mean we're seeing the text content update. Why wouldn't the console log? Oh, it's doing it at the bottom.
Oh.
And it's probably just stacking them. There it is.
All right, so now we can see. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're telling me that if we if we get rid of the directive,
Get rid of the directive, or if you remove the element, either way, it will, clean up the effect. So it's not like lingering in memory,
perfect.
So that's the benefit of using the passed in effect instead of the raw Alpine dot effect. It's
Yep.
aware of the element and how to
I
clean
dig it.
itself up. Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Next one.
Okay. Let's put this over. What? Is this not resizable? Is the browser in a bad way? Okay.
What browser are you using?
Safari. Netscape Navigator.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
sorry.
Netscape Navigator, right? Yep.
Okay, so we want to see if we can do this with a promise. Now, I saw there's a bunch of code down here. So am I supposed to know about this code?
No, it's just my way of not including Axios. That does the same
Gotcha.
thing. It
So
just
we can
adds
just-
like an arbitrary.
So we have an Axios around.
Yeah.
Cool. So in this case, this is going to evaluate, this is going to return a promise.
Hold on one second. Can we look, where does message come from? Is that, check in the sidebar. Is there a message folder?
There is,
Okay.
yeah.
And are
There's
we,
like
we're serving on something, right? So slash.
Yeah, I mean, like this
message
should
will give it
work.
to you. Okay, it should work. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. All good.
Mhm.
Okay. Back to you.
Maybe. I mean, do you want to check really quick?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we evaluate this expression. Let's just like see like what this even is. Out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Whatever. Undefined.
Yeah. Undefined. I
Okay,
suppose
so
it
is
would
this-
be kind of nice if it returned the promise that is actually returned.
Yeah, I mean, like it usually returns what's there, right?
Yeah. Yep. That would be nice.
Okay, so what's the idea here then?
So the idea is that basically instead of you having to take on the burden of handling asynchronicity and
Mhm.
detect if something's a promise and then listen and then and whatnot, if you use evaluate later, because it accepts that receiver, it will automatically detect the asynchronicity and just handle it. So it's like you can just use
Gotcha.
one code path and never worry about asynchronicity.
So you're suggesting I do something like this.
Yep.
And the argument is here, right?
No. So it
This is the
evaluate later
one. This is the
returns
one where I call it
function.
and I get it,
Yeah.
and we're just like
Yes.
async message
Yep.
basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in here, we're gonna do this basically, except we're gonna get rid of this evaluate thing. We're just gonna say async message
Yeah.
dot to uppercase.
And
Okay.
I'm interested to see if this works. Let's give it a go. Okay, so it does work. The only thing
Yeah.
I would say is to move evaluate later out of the effect, so you're not
Sure, we're not just
regenerating
like
it every
redoing
time.
it over and over again. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that makes sense. In my head, I was wondering like, do I need to do it as late as possible to make sure it's like bound to the right instance of the thing? But I wasn't thinking about it too hard. It was just like
Gotcha.
instinct, avoid
Yep.
doing it too early.
Right. Right.
But yeah, cool. Yeah, works.
Yeah. So that's that. And if the expression that you pass in is, I guess this doesn't matter from this perspective, but this is that polysync or whatever I called it, polysynchronicity or something. Like if you pass in something that's not asynchronous,
Mhm.
evaluate later will actually like return it synchronously, so you don't get like weird, microtask scheduling issues.
Gotcha.
If it'll detect synchronicity and then whatever. So
Gotcha. So
anyway.
it doesn't always push it to like the next available microtask. Like
exactly.
if you put something in a promise that would like a promise.resolve or whatever would.
Then it would. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Radical.
So this is it. I mean, basically the only other thing you can look at challenge for, but timing wise, like we might not even, maybe just take a look.
Okay.
It's basically kind of what we've already done. Just building on it to like a real life example.
Okay, cool. So GitHub search URL, xfetch GitHub search URL. And is the ID, what do you actually want this to do?
Yeah, so that would, sorry about the URL, but you pass in a URL. Basically, the idea is that xfetch, you pass in a URL, and whatever it gets, it just shoves into the div as HTML. So this is a way you could like defer loading of a HTML partial or whatever, or do like a live search thing in this
Okay,
case.
so I mean, it's something like this with an element at least, and then we want to say like L dot. You just want to put it in as like the inner HTML.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Is it HTML or
Yeah, it is.
HTML?
TML.
HTML.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. So there's going to be some stuff again. At least this and this. Probably this.
Yeah.
Probably this mostly. And probably this. And then probably some of this with some of this. And
This guy, man.
some of this. Evaluate later expression. Let poop equals that. And then we're going to have to make sure we use poop in here, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just poop. Am I missing something?
Yes. So you did the right thing with the evaluate later, but you have to call, like, poop is the function. It's like a
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It takes the
So
receiver.
it takes the receiver. So now I've already forgotten. Do we do the effect in the receiver?
No.
So we call poop, but what do we?
So you're on the right track with where you have
there's
poop
like
right
a
now.
yeah, but
There's a lot of
isn't it
poop
like
moving.
something like this?
Right.
Like,
Totally. But consider this for a second. When
Mhm.
you call poop, that's when you're accessing the dependencies. So you have to
Is
have
this
that
what we wanna
inside
do?
of the effect. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's just going to spit out the URL. So you just got to
Sure. Yeah. So we actually have to like get it. Okay. So does that mean that we have to like, do we actually want to evaluate later in this case? Because like we have to run like different code. Like we're getting a static thing from here, but then we have to run our own asynchronous code.
Right. No, you can I think you can keep evaluate later just the way it is. Because the only job of evaluate later is evaluating that function that gets GitHub search URL. You know?
So, but then in here, does that mean I have to do like fetch?
Yeah.
Result dot then whatever response.
I arrow I text or response text, whatever. Yeah, but it's not just like do it like inline.
Like this?
Because and
then the method. It's another thing. Yeah. It's like and then it's like
and you have to call dot text as a method to like convert it. I know, it's so ugly. There you go. That's the business.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, look at that. We did it.
You're the number 2 Atom.
That's cool. Like out of who?
Out of all of GitHub.
Interesting.
That when you search Atom.
Wow. So like they decided that I'm like the most relevant Atom besides the guy who's just straight up Atom. Well, like Atom. Yeah,
right. He gets like a higher weight because it's just Atom.
Yeah.
That's true. Right. He automatically wins that with their So we're pretty much there. Let's comment that out, do the next one.
Okay.
And I think the next one actually just works.
Okay. So what's the next one doing? So we're going to type in a username and okay, so let's do
don't worry about those console.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's fine. Just getting hacked. It's okay. All right, there we go.
There we go, man.
Decol.
It's dec-col.
Oh.
Dec-hole. Yeah. Oh man, maybe not.
I must have deleted his GitHub account, made it private or something.
Yeah. So that's it, man. Alpine JS. That's it.
There it is.
Pretty low on the Alpine search.
Beautiful.
Needs more clout.
Pretty cool.
So there you go, man. This is it. You've completed the challenges successfully. You're very smart. You're a very talented developer, Mr. Wathan.
Thanks,
how do you
Caleb.
feel?
Like you too. I feel good. These are very fun APIs. which I think is important. And yeah, nice work.
So enriching experience, would you say?
I would say indeed. Yeah.
Indeed.
What we need
Okay.
next is the ability to find a directive like here, like
X directive, colon
equals, and then I just want to be able to say like fetch, then put a callback. I just want to do all this.
do colon fetch.
That's a joke.
And then equals. And then
Are you telling me you
there,
can actually do this?
No. But if we're designing it, then it would like at $L is a magic that's available inside of that automatically.
And then what about like the expression and stuff though?
All of those get passed in as magics. So you can just use
okay.
them inside that.
So you're saying every single thing here though, even though you have these as different positional arguments with sort of the idea that they wouldn't collide with each other. But
I bet you could make this right now.
I could like make a directive that lets you register more directives.
Yes, I am very confident you could.
That's too bad that like we didn't come in a little bit more prepared, because that would have been kind of fun.
That would have been great, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Would it work? Because I guess like it would run during the initializing. Well, or would it?
Oh, okay.
It might not happen at the right time.
Oh, what I would have to do? This is the only part of the API you would need access to that's not currently exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Alpine runs through all the directives first.
Yeah.
And prioritizes. It first does xref and xignore, and I think xcloak, because those are the only ones that you need to access from every other directive, no matter where they are in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
All the rest get executed as you crawl. So if you registered this, you could use that, but only the elements, I think, after that element could use that directive that you defined.
Gotcha.
If you wanted it globally available, I would need to expose the part where you make it like a higher priority.
You'd need like another Alpine event listener that lets me say like Alpine dot prioritize X directive or something.
Yep. Yeah. That's it, man. I think, dude, no way. You can do it. This is how you do it. When you return the handler from directive, that handler that you put in that function, you store that in a variable called whatever, and then you do that variable dot, I think, immediately or something equals true, and that's how it knows.
Oh, that's like private Alpine API, like just like,
or maybe it's called inline. I think it's called inline.
Sure, but there's some property that we can just like hang off the function in Alpine and be like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so we could do it. Good stuff. Adam,
cool, man.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for letting me put you through the ringer here.
Yeah, no, it was fun. This is my favorite talk that I've ever had to do, because I didn't have to do anything and I learned something and it was fun. So
peachy keen.
Cool.
Peachy keen. Thank you, Adam Wathan.
Great job on all this stuff, Caleb. Great job running your conference. Thanks for inviting me, and good luck with the rest of the event.
Thanks, bud. So that's Adam Wathan. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. He's got a lot of good stuff. He has a framework. Tailwax.
What is it called again?
WinDC. Tailwind CSS. Adam Wathan. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Peace out.
See ya.
Okay.
That was a shocking success.
Shocking.
That went like exactly as planned.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
I honestly thought that you guys were going to run into something that would not work, but
no, it would be my fault. He's so quick, Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah.
But the dude's so quick. It's like, he's just like two steps ahead.
We need to stop saying nice things about Adam, because I don't think it's bad for him.
It's not good for him.
It's not good for Zebra. Yeah.